UFO stuff. Everybody know what time it is? Tool time. No, just joking. It's UFO time. So yeah, we're taking a trip back to 1987 where, again, a police officer has a sighting of a UFO. So let's get into it. Now, I've said this in my previous videos, but Wisconsin is rife with sightings of the unexplained in our skies. So much so that 3 cities here claim the title of UFO capital of Wisconsin. And those cities are Elmwood, Dundee, and Belleville. I've already covered Elmwood, and Dundee is the next one on my list. So that leaves us with Belleville, another small town that has been plagued with stories of extraterrestrials visiting the area since the 1970s. One of the most famous of these tales comes to us from an on-duty officer and several others who saw unexplained lights in the sky on a cold January night. Were these merely misidentifications, or is there more to this account than meets the eye? Who the hell knows, but let's dive in anyways. You ask and you shall receive. So we are talking about more aliens today. The year is 1987 and the town of Belleville is the population is about 1,300. So it's very, very small. Small town again, just kind of like Elmwood, right? So again, we've got a police officer who's on duty, and on this night, I think it's in January, and he's got a ride along with him this night. And it's Officer Kazmar. This is just one of many sightings on this night. Like, they see these lights that they're about to describe. They see these throughout the night, it seems like. Always describe the same two. They're red, white, and blue. USA! I'm just kidding. Anyways, so they describe these red, white, and blue lights that are just standing still in the sky. They're almost, they think at first that maybe, you know, this is some sort of weather balloon. Maybe this is some kind of crap that belongs to the government. It's got to be something, there's got to be a logical explanation. Belleville in the 1980s was about half the size it is today. Belleville sits on the county lines of Dane and Greene County, a small town outside of Madison. There isn't anything to make you think this town is anything other than mundane. This makes what I'm about to tell you difficult to believe. But dozens of sightings throughout the 70s up through the present have taken place here. Many locals and non-locals alike have encountered something absolutely bizarre in the sky. From law enforcement to doctors, and many others deemed credible and sound mind, all lend credence to the idea of ETs existing. Today we will focus on one encounter in particular, that of Officer Glenn Kazmar, and the reports varied if Jeff Versith was his police partner or if he was a ride-along, but regardless, them as well as several others reported seeing something that night that remains unexplained. It's really bright, and they aren't the only ones to see these lights, okay? So eventually they're getting a bunch of phone calls, and people are reporting it, and they actually radio over, and they are speaking to other law enforcement, like Dane County Sheriff's Department. They're also talking to, I don't know, another smaller city, like, around the area, and they're all seeing the same thing, and they all meet up on Quarry Road, where they all, witness this object together, and they're all sound mind law enforcement officials, and I mean very respected members of the community, all the way to the person that was riding along with the officer. So everybody's very reputable. There was no reason for them to just make up a story, and actually even the one officer with them from another department believed that what he was seeing had to have been a weather balloon. That's what he thought it was actually not a weather balloon. He thought it was like a comet or something like that, or a meteor. He was really firm in his belief that this was not a UFO and that was just nonsense. So anyways, the rest of them though, they were pretty for sure that that didn't make any sense. They were like, okay, a meteor isn't going to flash bright red, blue, and white lights. Like, are you kidding? But it was pretty crazy, you know? So they all agree that what they were seeing was definitely not a weather balloon. There was nothing logical to explain the sighting. And they weren't the only ones to see it either. So the police department, they're not alone. People driving on the highway, they're seeing these lights and they're reporting it in, you know? Everybody's seeing this. So they're standing on this road watching these lights when they begin to like start picking up speed and they're taking off, and then they finally just disappear. This is how frequent these sightings go on here, is that there's 3 cities in Wisconsin. There's Belleville, there's Elmwood, and I can't remember the other one, Dundee. They all fight for the capital of the UFO capital of Wisconsin. That's just how frequent these sightings are. And then we've got the sightings that go over Lake Michigan, which is a whole nother, that's a whole nother can of worms, because we're talking about aircraft that goes missing over there. We've got literally a Bermuda-like triangle over the Great Lakes. Those are like freshwater, sea, like those are freshwater seas. They're massive. So who knows what's going on out there, but people also report seeing so many lights out there. And around the area of Belleville and all of even New Glarus, right? So these sightings continued on. They were seeing these lights and even these cigar-shaped craft, as another person described it, up in the sky around the New Glarus area, and everybody was confirming that these sightings were something else. Something else was going on. I mean, if this was a weather balloon, you would think, and the weather, I guess the weather station in the area or whatever, they denied any involvement or having any sort of air balloons out. They said that an air balloon wouldn't have those kind of lights to begin. Belleville is debatably one of Wisconsin's most frequently visited hotspots by UFOs. People have reported a steady stream of sightings in the area for decades. One of those events occurred late on the night of January 15th and early morning hours of January 16th, 1987. Officer Glenn Kasmar and his passenger Jeff Furseth were patrolling the quiet town when they first saw these lights in the sky at around 8 p.m. on the 15th. Now, Kasmar dismissed it at first, believing it was a plane since the airport was not too far away. Logical, right? It would suddenly hit him, though, that what he was seeing was not a normal aircraft. Firstly, the object wasn't moving. It seemed to be suspended in the air, and hours were passing by. Others would later call in with stories of people witnessing the exact same thing the two had saw. At around 2:30 a.m. on the night of the 16th, the pair decided to cruise on out to Quarry Road, which was the highest vantage point in the area, and see if they could get a better look and perhaps put an end to this mystery. While there, the two observed the cluster for about 15 minutes, not being able to rationalize the bright red, white, and blue lights clustered and suspended in midair. Kasmar radioed into Dane County Sheriff's Station to see if anyone else was seeing what they were seeing. Sure enough, they were. And soon the pair were joined with other officers from the surrounding area. Now, it varies if the second officers were present when the lights suddenly picked up speed and vanished, but it is said that in a lot of the reports that the group of them had watched the lights, and where others it says the two of them, Kasmar and Furseth, witnessed these lights picking up speed and taking off and disappearing before they were joined by the other officers, and that the other officers were already witnessing what they were seeing. Either way, everybody saw the same thing. And so they have no idea what they were seeing. They couldn't confirm it, and they even the cops, they're calling the airport as well to try to confirm if Dane County Airport could see any flights and confirm any air traffic. And at the time, their system was shut down for maintenance. And so then they get a hold of Chicago O'Hare Airport, and they were able to confirm that there was something in the sky. And they couldn't identify what it was, obviously, but they did confirm that there was something in the sky. They could pick something up on their radar. And so the police obviously felt pretty solid that this wasn't that meteor, other than the one who was, I think, trying to, like I said, when you're faced with those kind of, I think, situations, you do try to rationalize and logically explain. We are afraid of what we don't know. It is scary, the unknown. I mean, so I totally understand. That makes sense to me. Yeah, they were convinced that this was definitely something they weren't familiar with. So now I'm going to talk briefly about another lady named Sherry Wild. And boy, oh boy, does Sherry Wild live up to her last name. So Sherry has quite the tale to tell. Sherry is an author. She's from the New Glarus area. I was reading she was a divorcee, estranged from her children, and she had been going through decades of alien encounters, and that she actually even wrote books about these and reaching out to people to try to, try to dissect her experiences and break it down to try to, I guess, give everybody else the chance to read up on her experiences. So anyways, Sherry claims to have been visited by aliens, specifically the gray type, for the last 30 years since she was 8 years old. She even claims to have sorry, god damn it. Sorry, I'm trying. She claims to possibly even be the mother of 30 hybrid alien children, half human, half alien children, because these aliens have harvested her eggs. Yeah, that's out there. So that's something. And you know, I whatever, I guess. You know, who am I to judge? Kazmar would call the airport nearby, and as luck would have it, their radar was undergoing maintenance that night. However, Chicago's O'Hare Airport was able to confirm that there was something in the Wisconsin airspace. What that was exactly, we still don't know. But still not satisfied, Versith contacted the National Weather Service, and after describing the incident, they assured him it was not a weather balloon. One of the officers that night chalked it up to being a supernova, but last time I checked, novas don't flash red, white, and blue lights, mimicking aircraft. Now, this isn't our only sighting here either. There are still so many more stories from the area to share, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So until next time, my lovelies, keep your eyes to the skies, and thank you so much for watching. So yeah, I mean, pretty much that was it. That was the Belleville sighting. But like I said, the next day in New Glarus, people reported seeing this cigar-shaped box UFO with these exact same lights, and it almost does the same exact, you know, speeds off and disappears into the oblivion. You gotta think must be something that's going on, right? I mean, how is it that law enforcement is misidentifying crafts then? How is it that all these people, that even some of them being ex-military vets, you know, are able to say, hey, these are nothing that I'm familiar with. This is something really different. I've never seen anything like it before. That's remarkable to me. That solar system is just so vast. Who the hell are we to say that we are the only possible things to ever exist, you know? And I can't wait to dive into the, like, stories from Lake Michigan. We've got so much with this alien stuff. That's why I'm gonna keep trying to drop these alien videos along with my, like, spooky legends from Wisconsin now, because it's Halloween. So I'm gonna be dropping a video for my, like, those will be much shorter than my other one. Obviously that one was my first go around, and I just went, like, I went all in with that editing. I just discovered editing. Yeah, that's why it's going ham now. Just like, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching me, and I will catch you all in the next video.